Welcome back to the channel. My name is Steve. I'm a former financial planner and I want to share my financial experience with others. I've done a lot more things in financial planning, but most of my career has been in finance of one sort or another. I love buying and selling things on Facebook Marketplace. In fact, I've been doing some of that today, selling things. And I also love buying things here at KMart in Australia, and within the UK. I also enjoy using Primark, which I think is quite similar to Kmart, but maybe not as good. And it's a situation of horses for courses, which is what I want to talk about today. And in the course of my research, I found out an amazing tip for using Marketplace that I am going to soon use myself, and I'm going to share that with you. That is really super useful. So I'm going to share that with you soon. I'm just going to quickly let you know about Marketplace in case you haven't heard of it, and then I'll give you some recent examples of where the value is to be had in each place. If you're my age, you can remember a time when we didn't have Facebook Marketplace or Facebook or even the internet. If you wanted to buy or sell something, you essentially had two main options: the classified ads in your local newspaper or a publication called the Trading Post. The Trading Post stopped publishing its print edition in 2009, which is interesting as I only joined Facebook myself in 2014. But Facebook started in 2004 and Marketplace, or its predecessor, started in May 2007. The Trading Post still has an online edition though, and the classifieds, which used to be described as rivers of gold for the likes of News Limited, have diminished enormously. So I can remember getting the Saturday papers, like they were just massive documents, and they were all, it was like this thick, and a lot of it was classified ads. And it was a really big thing back in the day, for those of you who not old enough to know those things or remember those things. But platforms like Marketplace, which offer ads for free, completely wrong-footed the printed business model. You can pay more for increased exposure, but most people like me, certainly me, don't normally pay a thing for the ad. And you have another advantage using Marketplace. You can have a look at the profile of the person that you are thinking of selling or buying from and get some indication of their bona fides. For example, if it says that they're living in another country, you might want to be careful. That happens quite a bit. You get offers from people from foreign countries. And many people also have seller profiles that show ratings from other people of your profile. So for in my case, my rating shows I have a 4.5 star rating. I also have a highly rated and very responsive badge. It also says that I'm very responsive to messages, and I typically reply within 1 hour. So you can tell that I spend too much time on my phone. And to get a highly responsive badge, you need 4.5 stars or higher ratings from at least 5 buyers. And to get a very responsive badge, you need to typically reply to messages in 1 hour, as I do. I also discovered, and this is the big tip, so listen to this, I love this, that there is an option called vacation mode when you're selling stuff. So if you're about to go on a trip and are traveling, buyers won't be able to place orders or start new conversations with you, which might be handy if you've got some things already listed that you can't sell in time, and you want to sell them when you get back home. So rather than go through all the individual listing, you just put it on vacation mode and you don't lose your listing as well. So I thought it was like a fantastic feature. So you find this, you go under your Marketplace profile and it's under settings and you hit that. So next time I'm going away, because I always have stuff that I never sell, and this time I won't have to, I can keep it going. Not much longer, but I don't mind storing it. So I think it's really, I don't know, I think that's a real bonus. I think most people would know about that. On the selling side, I find it immensely useful. So I just want to talk about a small example. Recently, I had this Breville bread maker that I had it for years, like decades. And I love that thing. I've really been smashing it lately. But it stopped working. The blade in the machine stopped turning, but it was still turning on and still getting heat. So I had this big mess come out one day, which I had to throw in the bin. And the other one I ended up pulling out and making into a manual bread, which I actually quite enjoyed. Anyway, I listed it for free, explaining everything and suggesting that a handyman might be able to fix it. And sure enough, a chap turned up with his wife. I think his wife might have found it online about a week later with the intent of repairing it. And I felt great about that. It's so much better when I see people doing on my own street, like leaving furniture and other items in the street and then seeing it damaged in the rain, which I actually saw this week. I saw a lady examining this bit of furniture that had been in and out. It was quite a charming little piece actually, but it had been raining and it had been destroyed. And I said to her, you know what, how wasteful. So, I think if you've got something like that, just put it on Facebook for zero and it'll find a good home. It seems very wasteful to me to put things out, or first of all in the bin and into landfill, but secondly, put it out on the gutter and it gets rained on or not appreciated. So yeah, not good. On the buying side, so I immediately had a look to see if I could buy another bread maker, and this is where Marketplace breaks down. So everyone wanted at least $50 for their ancient bread makers, whereas I could buy a brand new one for $85 with a warranty, of course, from Kmart. So I ordered it and got it delivered. And please see my video on the joys of OnePass and the free delivery it offers, because there wasn't one available in my local store, so I took advantage of the free delivery feature with OnePass. I actually ended up returning it to Kmart because I got worried about all the bread I might eat. I actually bought it, and the time it takes to bake, I'm trying to focus on getting videos out to you, so I sent it back. I actually returned it. So yeah, and I actually just had the same experience earlier where I sold an air fryer I still had in the box quite cheaply to a young guy who needed it for his parents visiting. And he said to me, have a look on Marketplace, and they're all so expensive. People wanted huge money for their ancient air fryers, so I felt good about that. So this to me then is the main sort of rule about Marketplace versus Kmart, and that is most people want too much money for their electronic goods. Also, like things like phones and saunas and such. And whereas the real value play on Marketplace is for anything like in the nature of furniture. So recently I was told my Victorian home, was too dark and dingy inside. So I went on a spree of buying these really large, ornate style mirrors to match the style of home. In fact, that mirror there is one of the first ones that I bought for 100 Australian dollars, and it's quite light and it's enormous, as you can see. It covers the whole wall. I went mad and I bought 12 mirrors in total. I don't do things by half. And 11 of them I bought on Marketplace with the price ranging from $30 to $120. Having said that, I'm selling one of them because it doesn't actually fit what I wanted. I did buy one from a retailer, which was a full-length wall mirror that I bought from IKEA for $129. It's called Lindvin. And yeah, so it's quite nice and means people can see themselves getting dressed in the wall there in my master bedroom. So I think it's quite a useful addition. So that wasn't really so much about the darkness, although it all helps. Another place that I used Marketplace for recently was for buying a bunch of hardy plants for my garden pots. I got a whole bunch of them for a fraction I would have paid at Bunnings recently. But then I did recently buy an indoor plant for in this room, and it's called a Jungle Warrior, and I worked out I actually paid an insane price of $42. And I checked the sale, like the tag on it was actually for sale for $39. So I think I'm going back and actually asking for maybe even a full refund, because I don't think it's really good value, but certainly I'm going to get my $3 back. I also found out that the supermarket scanning code, where they mislabel something on a scan, they give it for you free. I have had that happen. Bunnings didn't sign it, but they're part of the same group as Coles. So, yeah, outrageous. Anyway, so, a lot of people in our society today accumulate a lot of stuff. Stuff is cheap these days, and one needs an organised way of getting rid of this stuff. So for me, it's as follows. Clothes and shoes, if they're not too bad, generally I donate them to my local charity shop. Furniture and unwanted electrical items, Facebook Marketplace. If I can't sell the item or I need it gone in a hurry, I'll put it up for free. This has saved me multiple times from the cost of disposal at the tip, as well as the cost of driving your time to driving to the tip, or the waste recycling centre, as we call it these days. I will remember putting an unwanted fly screen on Marketplace for free and being told by my then partner that there was no way anyone would want that. Sure enough, fairly soon someone turned up and took it away, because what happens is you bring out the free people. There's a whole group of people out there, I call the free people, who look for free things on Marketplace. So, yeah, a free person took it away. It was great. Hopefully they got some use out of it. Recently, I upgraded my tea jug. I make lots of pumping pomegranate tea, and then I refrigerate it from a plastic unit from T2 to a glass unit from T2. So I'm trying to sort of get plastic out of my life if I can. But the unit was in perfect condition. So I put it on Marketplace for $10. Nobody wanted it at that time. And I actually had a discussion with my dad about whether Vinnie's would want it, because he works there a fair bit. And he said, oh no, it's too stained. But I took it there, and the lady there thought someone would buy it. So hopefully someone over there at Boona in Queensland is using my jug happily and getting value out of it. I really love that. And you feel good about not adding to the waste pile as well. I just felt quite good. Marketplace is actually the only place these days where I use cash. And I'm not actually used to using it, so sellers really prefer it, and I prefer it as well. I don't want to have my account full of payments and giving my payment details to someone. So its convention is, in Australia anyway, we use cash. So what I do now, I try to get rid of it immediately. So I've worked out that if I go to supermarkets, Kmart or Bunnings, they'll allow you to use mixed payments. So you can give them all your coins, give them the notes, and then use your credit card or debit card to get rid of the rest. And that can get rid of all the cash quickly and easily. One of the ladies who I bought quite a large mirror from recently went to get some change for me, and she had a massive number of coins sitting in a bowl. And I thought, that's untidy and not a very good use of your assets. So I would take them to the coin slot at Coles and Woolworths and get some value out of it, get it moving out there, get the time value of money. I will admit though, I sometimes need help with this. So I was in Kmart and I put a cash in the machine, which I folded up in my thing, and it got jammed in the machine. But the ladies came and helped me with it, so that was really good. I also found out that if you get a cash out from Woolworths, they have an upper limit of $200, that's fine. And it can only be done with a purchase, fair enough. What I did find out is that they charge you 20 cents for the privilege these days. So if you can, find a bank ATM. In Australia, banks will not charge you for a cash withdrawal generally. And my bank in particular won't charge for other banks' fees anyway. But don't use one of those private ATM machines with their outrageous withdrawal fees. They're a total rip-off. I can also tell you that I have not purchased a new bed in decades. And I think beds are where Marketplace can be a bargain. I prefer getting them cheaply from places like charity shops like Vinnie's or the Salvos. I've gotten a few really good ones. And the reason I prefer Vinnie's and the Salvos for beds is they only take really good quality beds. So they don't take stained things and things like that. And I don't buy stained things either. But often people have bought beds and they change their minds. And and I actually remember buying a very large bed, and the guy sold it to me for I think $500, but he paid $3,000. And he told me later on that another buyer who was interested in the bed keyed this whole side of his Tuareg because he missed out on the transaction. So be careful. You ought to be careful with some of these potential buyers. That's why I always look at their ratings and who they are and the kind of person they are. You've got to be a bit careful. So to summarise, use Marketplace for buying and selling furniture and household goods of all kinds. But for most electrical items, use Kmart. That's where the relative value is. And also my hot tip is if you're going away on a holiday, use vacation mode, and you can keep all your items and sell them when you get home. You just have to remember to take them off, take them off vacation mode when you get back. So what has been your experience with these things? Please let me know in the comments, and I wish you peace and love.